Pitch flexibility, take one. Hello everybody, my name's Matt. I'm here with Success by Process, and today we're going to talk about pitch flexibility. Now, if you haven't already, please chuck a like on the video. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithms. Subscribe to the channel to get loads more of this really good content. And with that, let's get cracking. So pitch flexibility. Now, pitching is something every single person who's in a customer facing role. You could be a full-on salesperson who works in real estate, direct sales, commercial real estate, big ticket items, whatever it is you're selling, or you could be at a lower end of the sales spectrum where you're in a bakery or at a bike shop or even a personal trainer who's got to sell themselves to a customer. Now, the important thing is every one of you, whatever customer facing your role you work in, you will pitch customers, whether you know it or not. Now, first things first, it's really important to get a bit of structure up your sleeve. Now, there's numerous ways you can develop structure in a pitch. There's good ways and bad ways to do things, or should I say, there's no really bad ways. Well, there is, but there's your standard way, and then there's the really good way to do things. Now, if you don't know how to pitch, please jump on our website. There's a link in the description to our Success by Process page, and go to the Foundations course, click on that, sign up. It'll make a big difference to the way that you pitch. So when you understand, say, a 5-step pitch like we teach in Foundations, what's really important is not what you're saying, but why you're saying it and how you're saying it. So a lot of people tend to teach a script to a brand new beginner seller. That might have been how you learned to sell. Now, that's fantastic to get some basic words in your mouth to be able to say to a customer. The more important thing, once you get that pitch down and locked, that script, let's call it, is to be able to be flexible with it and understand what each section means. So every word doesn't have to be exactly the same every time. And I'll tell you from vast experience that I've pretty much never done the same pitch twice. Basically, it's very similar. The structure's the same. Generally speaking, there's 5 blocks of information that I generally use in each pitch. But even those blocks can switch places. So let's say your introduction, then you've got like setting the frame, you've got your presentation, your close, and your upselling. I'm not always putting my presentation after my setting of the frame. Sometimes, depending on the customer personality and what they need, this block will go over here because they've asked a direct question of me that needs answering. And if I don't answer that question, they're going to be thinking about their question for the entire flow of my pitch, which means they're not concentrating on what I want them to concentrate on. So a lot of the time I will have to shift things around and move things to fit what the customer's needs are from me personally. So that's why we need to have pitch flexibility in the way we go about things. Like I say, it is really good to be able to teach a script to an absolute newbie, but what's really important is to follow up and explain why you are saying each section. The understanding of why and how is far more important than the what. Again, if you're enjoying this content, please chuck a like on the video. It really helps. Just obliterate that like button right now. It'll send our video to millions of people, which would be fantastic. So what's really important when you're pitching is effective questioning. So basically, depending on the customer's personality type, you're going to ask certain questions of them that'll give you rapport-based answers, which will make the relationship between you and the customer more personal. So you build rapport by asking questions about, say, their personal life, what they like to do, and then you'll ask information-based questions which will be relevant to your product or your service. So things like how your product would fit into their lifestyle and what pain points that it'll alleviate. So basically, when you're asking effective questioning, the most important part of it is to use active listening. Now, again, if you want to learn really in depth what active listening is and how to do it, jump on our website, go to the Foundations course. It gives you a very good in-depth review of how to actually actively listen to people. And once you've got that on lock, and this active listening is a lot like a muscle, it's not an instant thing. You've got to train it to get better at it. And once you do become good at it, you'll be able to actively listen to your customer. Your attention and focus will be on what your customer's needs are rather than what you are actually saying. Following on from that, the path to successful pitching generally has 4 steps involved. Now, these are the 4 steps or the 4 stages of learning. Stage 1 is actually unconscious incompetence. This is when the seller doesn't know that they're not good at something because maybe they've never done it before. They've never seen it. They've never worked it's their first day as a personal trainer. So they're not aware of all the things that are involved in pitching the idea to a customer of getting fit and strong and healthy. Stage 2 is conscious incompetence. This is when a mentor or somebody around them, or maybe it's just self-realization that they actually realize that they're not good at something, that they don't know how to pitch personal training to a customer. So this is conscious incompetence. Stage 3 of this learning process is conscious competence. So this is when they develop the ability to pitch the idea or concept or service, but they've really got to concentrate and think about what they're doing. This is what most people get to in sales, and this is when it gets really hard because basically there's so much information that they're having to deal with, all these different techniques they've learned in sales, they're trying to put them all together at once. And then finally, we'll get to stage 4, which is unconscious competence. This is when you become a Jedi of sales. You don't need to think about what you're saying, how you're saying it, you just do it. And your focus, like I say, is on what the customer's needs are and their response and how you can effectively help them out and add value to their lives. That's when you become a master of what you're doing. So the one more thing I'd add, step 3, which is the conscious competence phase, a lot of people get to this, and like I was explaining, there's so much to do. This is when you typically see that when you're a newbie to sales, you've generally got an exponential growth in how quickly you're learning to sell. And then there's suddenly a drop-off, a temporary drop-off in your ability to actually sell. You stop closing. This is generally when you get to the conscious competence stage because so much extra information has come on board that you're really struggling to deliver it effectively. And then finally, when you get to unconscious competence, and the trailing end of conscious competence, you start to be able to use that information effectively. It's just like riding a bike, training at the gym. The more you practice, the more you make it a habit, the easier it becomes and the more you can send it on autopilot. So the main point of this video is understanding that basically your pitch needs to be flexible and fluid for the customer that's in front of you. If you're always saying the exact same set of words to every single person, it might work 70% of the time, but if you want to get that to 80-90% of the time, you're going to have to develop the understanding of customer needs, which comes through understanding of things like customer personality types. It comes through active listening ability, the ability to match and mirror a customer and have really effective, very effective question lines. It's more about your customer's needs and understanding what they need from you than the way you pitch the product. So just to take it full circle, it's not as important what you say, but how you say it and why you're saying it. It's more important to understand these things than exactly what to say. So again, if you like this video content, please give us a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Go visit our website. There's a really good blog section on the website. There's loads of free content on there, as well as the Foundations course, which I strongly suggest you have a look at and sign up to. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.